Will democracy survive in the next couple of years?
And essentially, we are the same.
And there are so many needs that Minnesota has.
What people are saying they need right now.
Access to democracy is made possible by donations from the following organizations. Thomson Reuters, a global company with expertise and insight to unravel complex situations in the areas of law, tax, compliance, government, and media. Their worldwide network of journalists and editors keep customers up to speed on relevant global events. Thomson Reuters, the Answer Company. Crutchfield Dermatology, a full-service treatment center in Medi-Spa in Eagan. Their goal is to help you look good and feel great with beautiful skin. With service built around courtesy, dignity, and respect, Mayo-trained Dr. Charles Crutchfield personally treats each patient and is acknowledged as one of the nation's best physicians. Firefly Credit Union, with locations throughout the Twin Cities, has proudly served Minnesotans since 1925. Firefly guides its members forward by delivering customized financial solutions to improve their lives in all aspects of banking. Firefly Credit Union, they light the way with life illuminated. Edina Eye, Physicians and Surgeons, a division of Twin Cities Eye Consultants, has proudly served the Twin Cities for more than 55 years. Now in 7 convenient locations. Using the most advanced technology combined with human touch, Edina Eye offers comprehensive services but dedicated specialists committed to excellence with innovative procedures and expertise for the most advanced eye care.
Access to democracy.
Hello, Roxanne. I'm delighted to be here with you.
I'm going to just, before we even get started on the topic of coaching, I think it would be interesting for our viewers for you to share a little bit of your background, and it's so interesting, and you have a very unusual, I want to say, cultural and academic and career background, which is very appropriate to our topic, but also interesting for viewers. So I know you have 20 some years experience in psychology as well as theology. You currently teach at Boston College, and because of the magic of Zoom, you get to be with us from Boston. It's pretty cold here today in the Twin Cities, but I know it's a little more pleasant there. And because we're starting the new year and leaving the last year behind, it's maybe the perfect time as people are reassessing what they want to have happen in their life for 2021 going forward, that we consider this topic. So I'll have you take a few minutes here and share with us your background and how you came to coaching.
Sure. I was born in Slovenia, a country in the central part of Europe, surrounded by Italy, Austria, Hungary, and Croatia. I experienced the communist regime system for 18 years, which planted in me a strong desire to live life of inner freedom and fulfillment despite difficult circumstances. Although I'm the only survivor in my primary family and having lost them at a very young age, hope and appreciation for life have been my driving force. As a full-time professor at the University of Ljubljana, I unexpectedly received a scholarship and an invitation to pursue advanced studies in Chicago, where I met you, Roxanne, in a university setting. After that, Boston College invited me to be a visiting scholar and professor. And for many years, I kept one foot solidly in academia as a scientific researcher, writer, and a professor, teaching courses such as trauma, mental health across lifespan, marriage and the family. But the other foot remained in coaching. Why coaching? In the classroom, I present all the wonderful discoveries that science teaches us. But through coaching, I walk with a person in a very intimate way. I encounter a person where that person is on their life's journey.
Thank you. Very, very interesting. And it does give you a whole nother dimension to what you learn in your academic training. So you get to put some things into practice, and you get to take the experience and bring that back to your students as well. And I have sat through and visited some classes that you have at Boston College through Skype before Zoom. And it is very interesting what students learn in the classroom and what you can bring with your own experience. So very, very interesting. So most people have heard of coaching, are familiar a little bit with coaching, but they might not know exactly what it is and why you would use it, and why it's become popular. So I'd like you to, if you can, just take a few minutes and explain for people who are maybe not very familiar with it, what is coaching, and why would you do it, and what makes it popular. So.
We all face hurdles in life. We can all experience that sometimes we are either stuck or that we don't live up to our full potential. In such moments, we can benefit enormously through the support of a life coach who helps us to clarify or create a vision for what we really want in life. Sometimes we think, we know, we tried, we end up in the wrong direction. So a good coach can help us to clarify this vision. A good coach can also help us to set goals, to come closer and closer to a realization of that vision. And a good coach can help us to move from being stuck to have a more fulfilled, satisfied, and I always want to emphasize, a meaningful life. Another thing that I would like to add here is that in the past, we only knew therapies, which are excellent for mental health issues and how to heal the past. But in coaching, we focus on achieving future goals. It's really oriented toward future. And I find amazing that today we have two possibilities, therapies and coaching, from which to choose.
That's so interesting. And as the year begins, I'm thinking to myself, how would I like my life to be different this year than last year? Or how do I want to maybe take advantage of the changes we experienced this past year, which for many people were abrupt and unexpected, and were many. And I'm thinking coaching would be a wonderful way to think about how to improve my life, like you said, how to enhance and enrich my life. I'm also thinking about all of the people who have had job changes. They've either lost a job or started a new job or had to take on someone else's job who wasn't there any longer, or have had to start working from home and maybe doing that with children now, schooling at home. All of those are huge life changes, and they're very challenging. So we may not think of those as possibilities for coaching, but of course, I think they would be.
They would be really great possibilities for growth and personal development. And you already presented some excellent situations when a good coach could come in hand. All these issues brought on by COVID, such as loneliness and sadness, you mentioned life transitions, or developing better self-care and happier relationships. There are so many conflicts in us and in our relationships. Or another example could be when a person struggles with burnout or loss or unwanted patterns of behavior, such as procrastination and self-criticism. actually, whenever somebody finds him or herself that there is more in life, that what he or she is doing, it's one piece of a much bigger puzzle, but somehow he or she doesn't know how to do the next step. That's a good opportunity to look for help and go further in personal growth, but also in life success.
I want to mention here too that it occurs to me, I know you speak many languages and you have studied in many countries. I met you here in the US, but you have also a lot of your training in Canadian academics, as well as you speak French and of course Slovenian, and you write in many languages, you write many articles. But those cultures have different coping strategies, correct? In other words, as an American, I may only think I have choice A, B, and C, and I may not even know that, the French see choice D, E, F, and the Canadians see another three choices on top of that. So when you have access to other cultures, I think that even gives you a broader perspective. Would that be correct, or other choices?
Yes, being a part of a different culture than the one we are born in, it's always a challenge. And I was challenged every single time I was living in, yes, a number of different countries, but it's also helped me to shake my own horizons, assumptions, to really go deeper toward my set of values. At the same time, as a coach, it's easier for me to see the identification that somebody has with their culture or certain aspects from their culture. And that's so important because when we identify with certain roles or views, our life becomes very narrow and we appear to be rigid in our mindset, in our ways of doing. We lose our creativity, which is crucial for a fulfilled, meaningful life.
I think that's very true. And I think sometimes when we get mired in the challenge of working with kids at home and trying to sort all of that out, we lose sight of that. We lose sight of what we might do, what we could do, what the possibilities are. We don't even have time maybe to take a breath, right?
Yeah, and sometimes we're so close to ourselves that we are just too close. Somebody can be a wonderful mother, but she is so much more than a mother. Somebody can be a great engineer, but he's so much more than an engineer. Somebody can be a lovely neighbor, but he or she is so much more than a lovely neighbor.
I think that's so true. And the other thing I think is interesting is when you have someone like a life coach with you, you have somebody who can see you in a way that those right around you may not see you. So they may only see that you're the mom or that you're the engineer, but now you're walking with someone who does envision you in a more holistic way. And I know being holistic is an important piece of um, your method, I want to say. So maybe say a little more about that.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you opened this question, Roxanne. Yes, this is really essential for me to look at the person who is in front of me from this holistic perspective, which means body, mind, and spirit. We are so used to be specialized, I don't know, in ear problem or in a special food diet or being an expert in one particular location. What is the best plant to grow there? But when we deal with people, we have to have this totality of who that person is in front of us. Yes, there is one specific challenge that that person is dealing with, which is usually the starting point that somebody will look for a life coach. At the same time, we need to have this bigger picture in front of us that that person might not experience only a knee problem, but it's something related to an emotional process of dealing with much broader life situation. And that this person is not just body, mind, and feeling, but that that person also has a spirit. And I'm not entering by this in that any kind of religious presentation, but I'm speaking about what really defines us as human beings, as a body, mind, and spirit.
So interesting. I am reminded that a good friend of mine last year encountered a severe health problem that she didn't imagine, right? And people can very quickly identify you by your health problem or your disability or whatever it might be. But she immediately hired a life coach, and I thought, what a smart thing to do. So here's a person who sees her holistically, who sees all of her, who doesn't identify her by her illness and can help her move through the challenge of that illness. It's a huge, huge piece.
Yeah, you know, as coaches, we believe that everybody has a self, or if you will, a soul, an inner wise lead, which is our deepest essence or center of our being. And that self is that powerful force that which knows the answers, the direction. However, when our body tells us, come on, now I need to break and I will stop you because you don't listen to me. I want to emphasize that many times we don't distinguish between ourself and our sub-personalities. And our sub-personalities are habits or patterns of behavior, such as being a workaholic or a controller or a rebel or a victim, and other examples. And a good coach helps a person discern between the self and sub-personalities, which is so beneficial if somebody goes maybe through a physical illness. But a good coach will help to look what is underneath. A medical doctor will focus on how to cure properly that sore part of the body. But a good coach can look at the totality of a person and see, are there any sub-personalities that were running the show maybe for years, but the person didn't realize that this wasn't a self-guided path of life, but that it was a part of that person which took over, and a person ended up in a direction or somewhere where she or he didn't want to be. And, you know, it's so hopeful. We cannot ever say it's too late for me. It is never too late. For a personal growth, it's always possible to do it now. When it's a good time, do it now. If you have questions, bring these questions. The questions will help you to move forward. When we have two clear answers, life becomes more problematic. You know, sometimes people say, oh, I'm so confused. I really don't know. I'm such a mess. I mean, if somebody's confused, this is great to start with. Why? Because then we can really go through all these layers, distinguish them, and discern what is that inner fire that cannot come through, but will help a person to move forward.
So that leads to another question. A lot of people, and I've heard this with friends and talking, think that something, a common question about life coaching is that will it give you answers and solve your problems? Maybe you could speak to that a little.
That's such a great question. I like it as a question. But of course, the answer is no, and it's a firm no. A skilled coach will never give you answers, but will ask a person good questions so that the person discovers the answers. A good coach is a guide and facilitator, but not a fortune teller.
So that's good to remember. We have a few minutes left, and I'm going to squeeze in one more question, and then I want you to share your contact information so people will know how to get in touch with you. But you do so much in your life. You do research and teaching and writing, and you do coaching. So how do you balance all of that? That seems like a tall order.
I cannot ever say that I am perfectly balanced, but I do like that these three areas challenge me and each other all the time. It's a good challenge. And my experience is that these three areas enormously inform and enrich each other and make me both a better coach and a better professor. It is my ideal combination. And because my academic background gives me that theoretical frame that I can rely on, it gives me also this inner confidence that I'm not experimenting with a person, that it's solidly grounded in something that it's recognized by others. At the same time, working with people on such a personal level enriches so much my research work because I'm not dealing just with high ideas, but I'm in touch with this reality that we people experience in our daily life. Yeah,
So
it's a
you
great
can,
challenge and a great combination.
yes, you can imagine new things and research new ideas, but your feet are firmly planted on the ground. I think you deal with people every day in real situations, which is it's an unusual combination, but it works, I think. Yeah.
It is true. I actually know very, very few coaches with this kind of background. And yeah, for me, I can say it's the best combination.
So in these last couple of minutes, share Erika, or I should say even Dr. Prijatelj, so people know your training and capability for this, but if you could share perhaps your email and your phone number for people where they could connect with you if they wanted to learn more.
Mhm. Yes, anybody can reach out to me through my email address, which is my family name, Prijatelj. In English, a word, Prijatelj, my family name means a friend in English. I love to share this. So it starts with the word Prijatelj, P like Peter, Rijat like Tony, ELJ dot coaching at gmail.com. And my telephone number, in case anybody is interested in, it's 857-269-5886.
Excellent. So those are two good ways for people to connect if they'd like to learn more. I know that there's many ways for people to pay also when they want to do coaching. So you can often purchase, just like you would with a therapist, maybe individual visits or a grouping of visits, or arrangements can be made for different pay scales if it's necessary. And I know it kind of varies from region to region, and what you might find in the Twin Cities might be a little different than Boston, although probably not a whole lot different. Is that correct?
Yes, and Personally, I know that price can vary so much. It can be $125, as in my case, per hour with a sliding scale, or it can be several hundreds. And thanks to Zoom and other possibilities, location is not an issue. So therefore, it is worth it to explore and find a life coach that would be a good match for you. Price is important, but I would always emphasize go with something that is a good match for you, because a good coach is a package deal, which means a coach that it's, I would suggest, encourage, look for a coach with a healthy personality, a coach with experience, competence, and shared values.
I think the shared values is important. Thank you for mentioning that. I think we're coming to a close for our time, but it's been wonderful to have you, Dr. Prijatelj, join us today and talk about coaching. It's so timely with the new year beginning, and people, I think, after last year had many challenges, and coaching would be a wonderful way to work through some of those challenges and turn them into opportunities for the new year, things that can enrich our life, and maybe this year can be experienced in a very different way than last year was.
I like this word opportunity, as you say it. So often we take life as it comes. Why not take life as an opportunity for
Yes.
making our best decisions and to create our future in a way we want to live it? And again, we're not primarily conditioned by our external circumstances, but we condition or we free ourselves through the perception of these conditions. And this is inside out work.
That's a wonderful way to end, Dr. Prijatelj. Thank you so much for joining us, and Happy New Year to you as well. And I hope you're able to come back and join us again. Thank you so much. And to our viewers, thank you for joining us today. It's been wonderful to have you. Wishing you a wonderful new year full of opportunities and possibilities. This is Dr. Roxanne Mishar saying goodbye for now. Bye.